hit that like, everybody. Come on. Give it what you got. Yes. Come on, everybody.
Man, I'm tired of being right.
I know. Mm-hmm.
Just the facts, ma'am.
That's right.
I'm telling you straight. It's my way or the highway. So anybody wants to walk, do it now.
I'm your huckleberry.
Call me Snake. Call me Snake.
I'm just a happy camper.
Beef jerky?
No, son, thank you very much. No, it gives me the wind, something terrible.
Oh.
I do it because I have, like, a good memory, because I'm cognitively there.
How, in the name of Zeus's butthole, did you get out of your cell?
A lot of very bad things are happening in Nicaragua.
De-engineering. Action replays in magnified fortune. Action replays in magnified fortune. De-engineering. They're de-engineering. They do action replays in magnified fortune. To me, Corona means Italy.
All right. Let's... Oh, hold on. Let's try to do my thing. I forgot all about stuff. I forget some things. And that's turned on, and then this is fine. I'm worried about that getting knocked over. And how's this... that little guy doing?
Saudi Arabia and Russia will army man the Iran it took over the airports and did everything it had to do. Peace and strength on the earth beyond. The bad guys will take over that pier and they'll take every ounce of food and everything else, and then they'll sell it to people that have no money.
Oh, yes. All right, let's see if we can get this working today. I feel like we can. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. It's Hal Sparks Megaworldwide, the greatest live stream in the world on the internet. As a matter of fact, I congratulate you on being some of the first people to arrive for the show, because even outside it's packed. And the internet is full of people trying to get in. If you think there's a lot of people in the chat room and watching this live stream now, you should see the people that are outside the internet that couldn't even get into the internet because it's packed. That's how they feel. How do you feel about it? I personally am very excited. There's only one song that really explains just how excited I am about the kind of show we have today. You know, kids, folks, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and germs, chat room, the lovely people of the chat room, welcome to the show. Should I show you guys what Summer got me as my birthday gift? Because she got it for me early. I can't open it till Wednesday because my birthday is Wednesday. But first of all, she had my car detailed. Now, she had people come over and clean my car inside and out while I was gone. And while I was in Durham, it was supposed to be a surprise, but because I'm a paranoid asshole, I have cameras all over the outside of my house and warning lights and things that pop up on my phone. You cannot get within like a good quarter mile of my house without me getting some kind of a notification on my phone that there's someone approaching, and then it reads your heartbeat, and then it it points the Havana ray at you, and then if you don't pass, if you don't know if you cannot answer these questions 3, what is your name? What is your quest? What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? Then it just kind of microwaves your internal organs. It's look, I'm a tinkerer. That's all you need to know. So she tried to set up this thing where she would get my car washed for me and cleaned up. Now, again, you know how they often say that when a guy buys lingerie for his girlfriend, it's really a gift for him? You know that story? You know that tale where they go, you're not really buying it for her, are you? You're buying it for you. The same thing is true of getting my car cleaned. As much as it was a lovely gift for me, and it was, and I'm grateful, it was more of a gift for her because I have a road vehicle, let's just say. It's my car is often road hard and put away extra damp. An African or European swallow. I don't know that. So thank you guys for getting everybody's thank you Pythonites for being here. She got that done for me, and I really feel like it was more of a gift for her because she was just up to here with how dirty my car gets because I'm always traveling. It's not that I'm a messy guy. I just don't have time to clean the car, and it's the least concerned that I am. Like there are tiers of concern, right? And the interior of my car, I only clean when we're going out together. And it's not like it's nasty, but it's just not, it's a mess. Because I'm always rolling in at 5 o'clock in the morning, after being up all night, living the lyrics of Wanted Dead or Alive. And so I roll in, it's a mess. It's a mess. She had it cleaned. I'm just saying. And it was quite lovely. 1,000 people already in the chat room. And anyway, that's nuts. That's crazy. That's impressive. And it's quite normal for the greatest live stream in the history. Okay, I'll show you what she got me. It's rather large. It's very nerdy. I'm just going to show you. And she got it for me today because we went grocery shopping at Costco. And they had it for sale. And we saw it the last time we were there. And she saw me looking at it. And she insisted on getting it. And it's very nice. Oh, hold it. This is it. This is what she got me. She got me an arcade 1-up that you can hang on the wall that plays Galaga and Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man and Dig Dug and yeah. And so, yeah, very nice. And I can't open it till Wednesday. And it's very heavy. But it's very nice. It's just, yeah. It's very sweet. And and she saw me the last time we were there. Like, she never wants to go to Costco with me. Not really. I mean, there's not a lot of reason to go. It's a very weird, curious, sometimes maggoty experience, depending on where you are. And so she's more than happy with sending me there with the crowds of people, standing in front of you while you're trying to get pay for your food before the frozen stuff melts. You know that, right? But she went last time with me because we were getting stuff, I think, for a party for Ethan, and so she was with me, and she saw me looking at it, and then so she insisted on coming back with so it was nice. It was very good. I'm just saying, it's very cool. It's a very good, yeah. So it was very sweet of her. It was a really good gift for me because Anyways, there you go. You'd never see me again if I had that. I know that's the bad part of it. I swear to God, it is like. The fact that it has like Galaga on it is the shit. Like, that's my game. That's my jam. Come on now. You get, especially when you strategically allow your fighter to be captured and you still have one left, and then you've got two, and you can shoot, you can have them in parallel. Oh, then I mean, just bring on the bonus rounds. I'm just stacking points at that point. It's fucking brutal. So thank you for the happy early birthday. I appreciate you guys very much. And there you go. So it also has, wait, do I have this right? Does it have, yeah, it has Galaxian, which is the shit knockoff of Galaga. It has all the Pac-Mans, I think. Miss Pac-Man and Pac-Mania and Pac-Land, all the shit knockoffs of Pac-Man. And then it's got Marty, which is the like the mouse game, which is really fun, and it's got Galaga on it. And Galaga's the real, I mean, that's the real one. Come on now. Come on. Boston Brian, hi. Thank you for, while everybody else was freaking out this morning because my green screen was off, or my show was all fucked up because it was just a green screen on live, which is, by the way, is not outputted by my software at all. I don't know what the fuck that was, except for it was probably just a hitch in the get along of the software and a crisscross, and probably, I'd say it was the deep state, but I am the deep state. You know what I'm saying? And but anyways, it didn't work very well for a little bit. And I apologize. I recorded it. I will post the Terra part of the show later on. But that said, a bunch of people were like, "Hey, it's a green screen." They were letting me know. Mark Kremer was letting me know. Thank you for that. And also, I get a text from Boston Brian. He's like, "Dude," I'm like, "I know. I am working on it while I am working on yes. Excuse me. Yes. All right. Yes." While Tara's talking, it was a good time. Anyways, I love you guys for helping. And the great thing about comedy is nothing can really ever go wrong. It's just another opportunity for laughs. That's the way I look at it. By golly, by God, by gosh. All right, we have a lot of shit to cover today. Not the least of which is, and I apologize right out of the gate for what you're about to see. Holy shit. Okay, so some of you know the Tenet Media story, which is the Tim Pool and a couple other people got busted because they were getting paid by Russia to make videos. And how could they have known, ladies and gentlemen? How would you know? Just because someone says, "I'm going to pay you, I'm going to start a group of politically minded thinkers. All of you think alike. All of you are pushing on your regular show the same message, to the exclusion of anyone who doesn't think exactly like you think, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pay each of you $100,000 a video 4 times a month, one a week, to make a video about nothing, and I don't care if you make any money on it. I don't think there's no product, no call to action. I don't want you to get people to sign a petition or anything like that, and I don't expect it to have a certain basement as far as viewers. Like, it doesn't have to have 10,000 viewers or you don't get paid or any of that shit. It doesn't even have to qualify for advertising. Right? And how could you not go, "Oh, that sounds completely legit. That seems completely normal. That seems, what could possibly be bad about that?" Now, I know it sounds like bank shot money laundering. You know, where, let's say, you're, for a myriad of reasons, people reach their limit in donating to your campaign, but they can buy a bunch of shit from you, and then you can take that money and put it into the campaign. Like, say, if you're the Egyptian government or Peter Thiel or somebody like that, you just buy a bunch of NFTs, and hey, that's just Trump taking his own money and putting it into his own account. And then he's even loaning it to his own account, so it has to pay him back with the money that people actually donate from outside. What could possibly be weird about that? Now, again, brace yourselves. Brace yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. This is Benny Johnson, who apparently is one of the Tenet Media people. And this guy figured, you know, I'm not in enough shit. I think I'll have on a guy who has just had rape charges dropped against him on Thursday night. I think I'll have that guy on as a guest. Now, thank God these are mercifully short, because I guess he was on Benny Johnson's show, and this is on Matt Gaetz's own channel. Also, why are you wearing headphones like that? Why do you not just get some earbuds? You are not a DJ. You are not working at Mission Control, and you are not fucking Howard Stern in 1997. What the fuck? So anyways, and is it just me, or since he's been charged, does he just look more cartoonishly evil? Did he like, hey, to celebrate a rape charge being filed against me, I think I'll get my eyebrows sharpened. Fucking hell. All right, so anyways, this is breaking. I don't know why this is breaking. Benny Johnson and Tim Pool were victims of a Russian influence campaign. Yeah, because you can't expect them to actually fucking think. Who would? All right.
But there's another committee I serve on, and I want to talk to you about it. I'm on the Armed Services Committee, and for several terms,
Yes, because he was served. He was in the military, and because Nestor has no.
I've been on the committee that oversees our cyber effort, and every quarter I get a classified briefing on all of the offensive and defensive missions that are going on in the world.
The irony. So this is how you learned that your Venmo was public.
The United States is aware of, involved in, and we have a tremendous cyber command. We should fund the cyber command. Those are great folks. And I received a briefing from them last week. And I can't tell you the substance of that briefing, and we can't get into any of it. But I am allowed to say what my perception is coming out of it.
And how do you explain your perception without any of the details? And how are we to? I'm fucking around. He's talking out of his ass.
My absolute belief coming out of that classified briefing from our Intelligence Committee and from our Department of Defense is that you and Tim Pool and everybody else were victims of a Russian malign influence.
Everybody, you guys, you're innocent. Benny Johnson, you are innocent, okay? Key, how could you have known? What? There's nothing weird about someone setting up a network of right-wing thinkers that all say and believe the same thing about Ukraine, let's say, and someone offers to pay them $100,000 a video and doesn't expect any return on that investment at all?
Campaign. You were not involved. You were not solicitous. You were the victims. And I think that those of us who are in the small groups of people that.
By the way, can I just say, does anybody think there's a chance that the Intelligence Committee isn't getting a full briefing because of some of the people involved in the committee from the people involved until the indictments can move forward because they can't say what the DOJ is doing? Because again, appropriation doesn't mean interference. So
that get to see the actual intel and the actual evidence need to come forward and say that, because Tim has been unfairly smeared. You have been unfairly smeared. And it's not a question in my mind that you were the victims of a Russian election interference effort. And that is how it ought to be portrayed.
That's how it ought to be portrayed. You're goddamn right. Cancel. That's how it ought to be portrayed. Now, it's bullshit, but that doesn't mean that's not how it should be portrayed. It should be portrayed as somebody's doing something terrible to you. Now, the other piece that he posted was this one. This is we must pray for President Trump's continued safety, praying that the Lord Jesus who reached down from the heavens and flicked away the bullet so that it would strike a firefighter, because apparently he's got a deal with the thing with firefighters or something. And the Lord was like, I don't care so much about him, but I must protect Donald Trump so that he can lose this election to the woman of color, spend the next year in court, and go to jail for the rest of his life. So, yes, I agree. We should all pray for his safety. I want him in the best health he's been in, or it's possible for him to be in, considering his diet and his lack of exercise and his general shitty demeanor and his toxic kind of nature. I want him to be in the best shape he can possibly be in when he goes to jail, so he lives a long time. Long time.
But we're scared. I mean, honestly, this audience is scared for Trump. And there's a little prayer for Trump at the end of every show.
Yeah, but I mean, let's be abundantly clear. I don't usually question people's beliefs, but I'm going to call bullshit on any prayer that takes place during Benny Johnson's show. Like, the idea that this guy is prayerful in what he does is an absurdity. Why would your prayers carry any weight? Why would it, it seems, I gotta say, performative at best.
I was a little worried.
Well, by the way, the government's not going to sufficiently protect President Trump.
The government did sufficiently protect Trump. As a matter of fact, it was local police that were pulled away from their station that, had they just stayed where they were, would have seen the shooter in Butler, and he never would have gotten a shot off. Just saying. And also, Donald Trump doesn't give a shit about any of it. He clearly thinks the gun owners largely are on his side, and so he doesn't plan anything with any advance enough where they could actually do the due diligence involved in this. He just doesn't give them the time to do it because he's a fly by the seat of his pants kind of an asshole, and he doesn't like people telling him what to do, even if it's for his own safety.
We've seen that. How many more times do you need that?
3. I would like him to dodge assassination 3 more times. I don't want him to be struck by anything, and I don't want anybody else to be hit, but I would like 3 more vain, stupid attempts. No, I'm just kidding. What the fuck? How many? There should have been none. Both of them. I mean, the last guy voted for Trump in the first fucking place.
I worry that the air of invincibility of the Secret Service is pretty much gone at this point.
What air of invincibility? The air of invincibility they had during the Kennedy years, during Gerald Ford, during Ronald Reagan. Which air of invincibility? What period were you talking about?
Point. And it is God's hand that has protected Trump.
And so it was God's hand that killed the firefighter. So Corey Comparator, God was just like, I'm done with that dude, according to you. According to Matt Gaetz, God was so concerned with Donald Trump that he deflected the bullet meant for him and killed a firefighter in front of his family, just, for the good of everybody. Now, I know what you're thinking, and I'm thinking the same thing. Why didn't he just give the guy a fucking flat tire on the way to the thing when he was traveling at a high speed that would make his car spin and turn over and go into a ditch, and then he would, I guess, suffocate or burst into flames or bleed to death slowly or something, instead of ever actually getting there and being able to fire off a shot at all? I know, but that would, what do you expect? God to plan ahead? Look, that's Trump and God, 2 things in common. They're really just driven by impulse.
Over and over again. And so, yeah, that's not a throwaway line. I think that praying for President Trump's safety is critically important right now.
Yeah, if ladies and gentlemen, if you don't pray for his safety and something happens to him, it's your fucking fault. And I'm talking to you, Jews.
At a rally in Tucson, Arizona that...
Oh, shut up. Cancel. I gotta like these fucking Rumble shows. All right, next up. Ladies and gentlemen, by the way, you're watching Hal Sparks Megaworldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show, etc., etc., etc. If you're on Instagram right now, give me a thumbs up or something. Say hi in the comments. Say hello. Give me a hello. I'll even go hello back to you right now. Hello. There you go. Because a bunch of people have joined in there. Say something. I don't know. I may not be able to see it all the time, and it doesn't show up in the regular chat, but I just want you to know that I see you. There you go. Hey, JB Pollard said hi. Look at that. We're getting some activity. It's good stuff. Because I don't corral everybody into one channel. Like, please, force everybody to go to your Rumble after you've been on for an hour, so you can charge them money, TYT, or Jimmy or any of these other folks, or fucking the Blaze or any of that shit. No, I don't do it. I come to you. That's right. That's why my audience is spread out. That's why the internet is full right now. And I apologize for backing it up sometimes. That's just how it works. Hello. Thank you, Connie, for the happy birthday Wednesday. Yes, my birthday is Wednesday. Me and Mark Hamill, Christopher Reeve, we miss him. And by the way, I want to thank everybody who brought me gifts at the Durham show. And I don't know how much. I never know how much to share with people, like when they give you a personal gift, whatever. But to the lady who gave me the drawing of Chud and made me cry, thank you again. And thank you for helping out Diane after the show who needed help. So I'm just saying. Thank you. Your birthday Sunday? Excellent. My mom's birthday is also Wednesday, same day as mine. And my dad's birthday is on Friday. Because we're just a house full of Libras. We couldn't make up our mind to save our lives. Now, Mark Levin. This is a dent in his head. Mark Levin had a fall or something. And again, I wish no ill will or illness on people. I don't do it. Even when they're dicks like Mark Levin. And I think that might be a scab on his forehead from when he ate shit and tore his like hamstring or something. It's not good. So he's back working again. I don't know the detail. He just was gone and then he wrote something and then whatever. So Mark Levin, I would just like to say, for the record, I think you're an absolute asshole, but I hope you heal well. And I would rather argue the fact that you're an absolute asshole with you in good health. That's how I operate. That's how I live my life and how I choose to live my life. And I don't want you to be harmed or in pain or sick. I want you to be full of life and vigor when I call you an asshole. Understand? Okay, good.
Before we get to them, the campaign that Kamala Harris and her media are running is the most diabolical campaign in modern American history.
Well, that's saying a lot. Define modern. I mean, are we talking like, British invasion or new wave?
Flooding the zone with hundreds of millions of dollars in paid ads and propaganda.
Okay, first of all, make a distinction between the two of those things. I think you're just mad that she's got more money to spend than Trump because he keeps raiding the coffers of the money that people give him and spending it on himself and his own properties and his legal issues.
Very limited availability for obvious reasons.
No, not limited at all. She's stacked a bunch of things. The obvious reason why she was not available in the beginning was because she took over the campaign with 90 days to go, approximately, had to plan switch over the entire campaign, move it over, change the language and the focus of her priorities from Biden's priorities. And there's obviously some continuity there, but she definitely had to reshape some of the stuff, specify, how they wanted to approach it, create a strategy for how she was going to campaign. Initially, she was going to campaign as the VP. Now she's campaigning for president. That's an entirely different animal and where you're going to go and what you're going to do. So they had to do all that shit in 3.5 weeks, 4 weeks, and then you could go and do interviews. And I would always say that she handled this like you should handle it, like Connie Kelly will tell you, like an airplane that has, is headed towards a runway and you may or may not have enough fuel to get there. Aviate, navigate, communicate. Fly the fucking plane, then make sure it's flying and you can stabilize it. Then pick where you're going, then talk to the tower. See how that works? Yeah.
You saw Kamala Harris with Oprah, some of you. I saw clips. I didn't have the stomach to watch the whole thing. She could barely...
Oh, Mark, we've seen you. You definitely have the stomach.
Barely get through that.
Let's come together with the character that we are so proud of about who we are, which is we are an optimistic people. We are an optimistic people. Mm-hmm. Americans, by character, are people who have dreams and ambitions and aspirations. We believe in what is possible. We believe in what can be. And we believe in...
Yeah. Yes. Sounds diabolical to me, too, asshole. Sorry, I'll wait till he heals up. Asshole in 2 weeks.
Fighting for that. That's how we came into being. Because the people before us understood that one of the greatest expressions for the love of our country, one of the greatest expressions of patriotism, is to fight for the ideals of who we are.
She practiced and studied and got through the debate. Ladies and gentlemen, does she want to be president of the United States? Well, there are other things you're supposed to do. Now, so far, we hear things like...
All right, Mark, first of all, I don't know what was wrong with what she said. It was an extemporaneous explanation without notes of her optimism about the country, which seems boundless, and that's a good thing. Just saying. Now, I understand when someone as miserable and shitty as you are sees someone with optimism, it probably flips your anger switch. Largely because you don't have another switch. But also, I know I just automatically, you're triggered, to use a word in common parlance right now. And nothing will help you. You just, I guess, get used to disappointment is my only piece, my biggest piece of advice for Mark Levin and his fellow travelers.
She wants everyone to have an opportunity economy. What does that mean?
That means that some people who are denied that opportunity by circumstance, birth, race, sex, or whatever, have at least the ability to start out at the starting line with everybody else without being held back by something. I'll give you an example, Mark. Let's say you, after an injury, can't enter a building because there is no ramp, and the steps to that building are not to code, and therefore they are a different pace than you can walk with a cane or a walker. They're not big enough for a walker, and they're too far apart for you to stabilize yourself with a cane. So you, Mark Levin, are left out of whatever conversation is happening in that fucking building. Now, when you get in that building, don't get me wrong, Mark Levin, that when you get in that building, your input will be largely useless. But even from the mouths of assholes, occasionally there's a gem, and you say something accidentally useful, or explain, in its purest form, the shittiest ideas that you believe in. And you give us all an opportunity to sharpen our debate knives, cutting it down, right? That's got value. It really does. So, but if you can't get in the building at all, because of circumstances beyond your control, things like age, which none of us have outrun yet, but we're getting damn close. But right now, still a rough one. Then you don't have the opportunity to make your case. That's what that means. It isn't about the finish line. It's about the starting line. And you motherfuckers seem to have a problem with people getting to the starting line. Because you believe that just by being in the race, with a capital R possibly, yourselves, you've already won. And so other people, if they could get to the starting line, that's your finish line, because you're not going to accomplish anything, Mark. You're not. I mean, bless his heart. Look, I've written music that I feel will survive past my life. Already. Like, I will stand my song She Waits up against, a myriad of songs. And if it hits you just right, it will do some good for somebody's heart long after I'm gone, right? So I feel like, and jokes I've told that last will carry on, silly moments that I've had that are beyond the kind of, political comedy that I do that's, you had to be there kind of stuff. The stuff that lasts will carry on, right? And I feel good about that. And that's what art is for. Some people write books about philosophy that can inspire as well, right? But Mark's stuff is political toilet paper, and he knows it. Mark knows that his books and his attitudes about these things are based on temporary anger, and it has no fucking legs at all. And so, and that's, the only reason he's able to fucking put books out in the first place is because he got a head start over other people. And without that head start, somebody else might take up that space at the printing press, take up that space at in any number of outlets, whether it's a cable news or a publisher, that he is taking up right now without earning it. Sorry, somebody was just like, oh, thank you, Sarah. Appreciate it. I love your political brain too.
She says she believes in democracy. Stalin said he believed in democracy. So
fuck you, dude. This is the whole, we're not a democracy. We're a democracy. Fuck you. Fuck Glenn Beck. Fuck Mark Levin and his busted ass. We're a democracy. You know how we are? We're a constitutional republic that chooses our leaders via democratic means. You know what that means? That means we're a democracy, asshole. That's what it means. We're a democracy. This is democracy. And we want people to be able to choose their leaders. Do you think, by the way, do you think Stalin really meant it? How fucking gullible does this asshole have to be? Right? Good Lord. Oh, and Conhale got in. I know it's out. It's packed outside in the internet. I'm worried about asking you guys to share the show out and give a thumbs up and all that kind of stuff, or even write in the chat. Just say hi if you don't normally jump into the chat. Just put a hi in there for somebody. I'm worried that we'll get full. You know, that the internet will get full. I'm worried that Amazon's going to call me and they go, you're killing our cloud computing server because everybody's using it to stand around and watch your show. And I'm going to go, tough shit, Bezos. Give my girlfriend a ride to space and back, or I don't even want to hear from you. Click.
What does she mean? The future.
By the way, she means that we pick our own leaders, and we should. And the Electoral College is fucked up as it is, and all that, like, that these guys would rather have as the way we choose our leaders is not how we do it and not how we're going to do it. And as we become more powerful as individuals in this country, it becomes even more important that we are our democratic leanings that started out with not everybody being able to vote, going to everybody being able to vote that is a citizen of this country.
She believes in the future.
Well, technically speaking, I think she believes the children are our future. And so, Mark, I would recommend that you treat them well and let them lead the way.
Well, the future is 1 second from now. Don't we all believe in the future?
I don't have to believe in 1 second from now. It will happen regardless. No, that's not the future she's talking about. She's talking about the future for our grandchildren and their grandchildren. That's when most people in the vernacular talk about the future, we don't mean the immediate future between now, the future. What do you mean? Friday. Shut the fuck up.
So what does that mean?
I don't know what you mean. What do you mean? Don't question what she means. I haven't figured out what the fuck you're talking about. God damn it. I was trying to be nice to him because he's injured. You're an asshole. What are you talking about?
She wants us to turn the page. Turn the page on what?
On racism, bigotry, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, diminishing human beings because of their innate characteristics, and moving on to a point where people can deliver the greatness that's inside them regardless of those things that you might have a problem with for a religious reason or some shit. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, again, I started out, I think I was doing very nice. Chat room, was I... Did you get the feeling that I was sincere when we started this? Because I was. I was sincere when I said I did not want to, that I consider him an asshole, but I want him to be healthy so that when I call him an asshole, he hears it and it doesn't, trigger his sciatica or something. That is still true. Yes? No more hate, you big dummy, right? Yeah, because I meant it. I just want to be clear that I meant it. Because he's being such a dick and so dismissive that I feel that onion is peeling away, and I may speak or behave in a way that you may forget the premise that I started this of. Okay. Jesus Christ. Here we go. Like, already, we're 2 minutes into this shit.
I'm going to turn the page. It's on her. But turn the page. New generation of leadership. What does that mean?
Okay, now he's just fucking with us. So it's Mark, are you just wrestling with words now?
We don't pick leaders by age. We pick leaders by substance.
Oh, eaters. Look, Freudian slip.
So this entire campaign, that is Kamala Harris's campaign, is a fraud. It's a phony. It's a fake with her help in the media. You have vague phrasing, talking about...
Vague phrasing. Vague, I think, is what he meant to say. But also, can I just say, what is Make America Great Again? What is that? What's Make America Healthy Again? What's Make America Strong Again? Why don't you just... or is it just that he's taking the Make America Great Again thing that he stole from Reagan and just inserting other fucking words into it? Could be that.
About something without actually directly saying anything.
Oh, you mean like Trump's entire speeches about how no one's ever seen anything like this, and this is like no one's ever seen before? That kind of shit?
In order to hide your real beliefs, thoughts, values, and potential actions. You don't want to be pinned down. You don't want to be defined. So you're an empty pantsuit.
So you're an empty pantsuit. Now, anybody who wears a suit with pants, who's a man, I presume, is just wearing a suit. But when a woman wears a suit, it's a pantsuit. Because Mark Levin is a gross old fart. Now, this is a great example, though, and I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Mark Levin, you prick, that you're showing us exactly what we need to turn the page on. Get it? Just you and this, like, you think it's castigating her to say pantsuit. You think that's a slam. It ain't. Right? It's a suit. Whether a man wears it or a woman wears a suit. You can say pantsuit, but when he says it, what he means is a woman in a suit. He means Hillary Clinton. He means women don't deserve to be in a position of power. That's where he's leaning. So if you're talking about what are we going to turn the page on, that. Thank you for giving us an example of how you're so fucking unaware, right? That how naturally this shitty attitude and this bigotry comes to you. That is indeed what we need to turn the page on. That is what a new generation of leadership will bring. And that is why I'm going to be the 56th president of the United States. But that's for another day.
So people can pour whatever they want to into you and to vote for you based on what they project upon you.
Also, that's a big fucking egg on his head. That is, I know he had a fall, but I'm beginning to think someone had just hit him with a fucking mallet. Yipe. I have to say, I'm not squeamish at all. I can watch surgery or a fucking autopsy or nothing bothers me. Only thing that gives me the willies, old man with a Band-Aid on his head. Because it only happened one of two ways. Either Grandpa or Grandpa, right?
Political manipulation is what this used to be called. It's done in totalitarian regimes, various autocratic regimes.
The Bush and Reagan presidencies, the Trump campaign. What are you talking? You mean like ads and people speaking in general phrases about their beliefs and their ethics before getting to the specifics of policy?
That's how it works. She's not going to lay out her agenda, even though many of us know what the agenda already is.
Well, then I guess she doesn't have to lay it out. Tell us what it is, dummy. Well, it's something about Stalin, I guess.
And part of this element of propaganda requires deception, hiding the truth, deception, causing someone to accept as true or valid what is false and invalid. You could see.
I see. You're one of these assholes who reads the definition of deception, and then that's your evidence that someone is being deceptive. Cool.
Through that debate with Donald Trump, she just kept lying about his position on abortion.
Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade.
Yeah, of course he did. He wants credit for it. He just said, give me credit for terminating Roe. What do you think that credit comes from? Do you think after they were in there, like, no, we really came in here to just call balls and strikes. We really didn't want to do this. He's like, you guys better get rid of Roe, or boy. Fuck you, Mark Levin.
Over 20 states, there are Trump abortion bans. If Donald Trump were to be reelected, he will sign a national abortion ban. Understand, in his Project 2025, there would be a national abortion, a monitor that would be monitoring your pregnancies, your miscarriages.
Lying about Charlottesville.
Let's remember.
Well, hold on, dummy. You can't just play a montage of what she said and then just go, all these are lies. Prove her wrong, dumb fuck. You can't just say it like... I got news for you, Mark Levin. You're a grown man. Nuh-uh ain't a fucking answer. In Project 2025, it does say that. And Trump will not say he wouldn't sign it. He just said that probably won't. The bill to reestablish Roe isn't going to come to her desk, is what he said. Not the bill to ban abortion won't come to my desk. And you bet your fucking ass if it came to his desk, he would sign it. Of course he would. Yes, exactly. Project 2025 is Agenda 47. Just Agenda 47 is the Project 2025 for idiots.
Charlottesville, where there was a mob of people carrying tiki torches.
True.
Spewing anti-Semitic hate.
True.
And what did the president then at the time say? There were fine people on each side.
I think he said very fine.
Let's remember that when it came to the Proud Boys, a militia, the former president said, stand back and stand by. So
I love how he's shaking his head. That's exactly what you fucking said. And everybody was saying, tell them to stand down. And you couldn't even say stand down. Now, there's only one way that he said stand back and stand by on accident. It's because his brain is so fucking diminished, he couldn't remember the phrase they just said to him, stand down. He couldn't remember those words. They don't make any sense to him, so he couldn't process them into the statement he was making. So he said stand back and stand by instead of stand down because he's stupid. Or he said stand back and stand by because he fucking meant it.
Everyone watching who remembers what January 6th was, I say we don't have to go back.
Lying about the 2025 project.
What you're going to...
Okay, it's Project 2025, and no, she wasn't. And also, again, just calling it lies because you're showing what she said, and this assumption that she's lying based on, I guess, your assertion? Gotta do better than that, dum-dum.
...going to hear tonight is a detailed...
By the way, for the record, I've covered all these before, but I don't want to be accused of the exact same thing. So I'd like to say specifically, Donald Trump says, if you listen for one more sentence, it was a perfect statement about Charlottesville, for example. That he said there were very fine people on both sides. There were some very, people who were just there to protest the taking down of a statue and the renaming of a park. Well, that statue was of Robert E. Lee, and that park was named after him. And they were renaming it because he was a Confederate general, a traitor to this country, and a man who sought to take down the Constitution of the United States. That's why. And so a bunch of people going, it's our heritage. Well, fine. Fucking visit that statue in a building. It can be in a museum. But the idea that you get to have chess pieces on the chessboard after you fucking lost? No.
And dangerous plan called Project 2025 that the former president...
I love this. She says, dangerous plan called Project 2025. He fucking nods. Look at that real quick. Watch this.
Lying about the 2025 project.
What you're going to hear tonight is a detailed and dangerous plan called Project 2025 that the former president...
It's like, yeah, you are. Basically, whatever I say is, it's a detailed and dangerous plan. It is called Project 2025. Yup.
president intends on implementing if he were elected again.
Federalists counted 25 lies. A gave up after 20. Breitbart came up with...
Wait, the Federalists did? The Federalists are the people who drafted Project 2025, you dumb motherfucker. They're the people who gave him the list of judges to choose from, specifically because they would get rid of Roe v. Wade. Fuck the Heritage Foundation and the Federalist Society. Fuck those guys.
With 21 lies. She just lied and lied and lied and lied. And this is intended to create a projection, a non-reality.
Really? Yeah. So him saying she's a Marxist and her father's a Marxist because he was an economist who wrote papers on economic theory of every kind. What's that supposed to do, Mark Levin? What?
And that's what she does. It's deception, to cause somebody to believe something that's not true. And they do this.
And that's MAGA's job. You can't steal Donald Trump's. That's like what she took no tax on tips, and now she's taking his whole lie about everything you're going to do and pretend it's your plan.
In order to protect their agenda, to protect their campaign, and to promote themselves.
Okay. Listen, asshole. Isn't that what a campaign is? Obviously, it's not what Trump's doing. He's just golfing and using campaign funds to pay for his properties and set up deals to, like, schlock his fucking followers out of every penny they have for shoes and silver coins and NFTs and all kinds of bullshit. But a normal campaign that actually functions, like, that's what you're supposed to do. Protect your campaign, focus your candidate and your message, put out your papers. Like, get the fuck out of here.
At the harm of others. That is, at the harm of Donald Trump.
Hold on. Wait a minute. So your complaint is that she's running her campaign in a way that helps her and her message and hurts Donald Trump. Sorry, again, this goes to that whole, like, you think the getting everybody to the starting line is cheating because you think the starting line is the finish line because you don't fucking want to do anything any more than Trump does. Asshole, that's what she's supposed to fucking do. She's supposed to kick his ass in the campaign. She's supposed to bring her A game. She's supposed to focus, know what her message is, stay on message, create ads, create, like, connection moments. Let the voters know who she is. It's not her fault that Donald Trump is fucking golfing his way through this bullshit and sucking up to crypto bros in a bar he wouldn't set foot in under normal circumstances.
She put words in his mouth. She's still doing it. She's still lying about it.
Nope. Which ones? Which ones? The very fine people? The stand back and stand by? Which ones?
In purposes to get an advantage, in this case, an electoral advantage.
Yeah, it's called a campaign.
This propaganda.
Oh, fuck you. Edward Bernays. Don't get saucy with me, Bernays.
Propaganda has been used for God knows how long, but it became almost scientific about...
Oh, you mean like make America great again? And the assumptions in that phrase and the bullshit idea that somehow, there was a greatness that was, there was a point in our past where we could have stopped growing and it would have been just right, but we had to keep moving past that and we need to go back to that spot. So you create a phrase called make America great again. Even though you know it's fucking bullshit, even though making America great is a constant process, like, perfection is a road, not a destination.
About 100 years ago in a book called Propaganda by a man by the name of Bernays.
Right. Yes. Trump said originally, like, it was one of his favorite books. He's never fucking read it. But, I mean, the same thing is true of the Hitler speeches. I think he just kept that on his nightstand to scare people.
Bernays was widely read by early Democrat progressives in the...
No, it wasn't. It was an advertising book.
1900s. He was widely read by dictators and genocidal maniacs. In fact, he was widely read by Adolf Hitler.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And again, the sauce The sauce.
That this is Hitler, you get the point. Propaganda.
Yeah, I get the point. The woman of color who's running to be the president of the most pluralistic society on the planet equals Hitler. Sure, great. Yeah, cool. Because she talks about how Americans believe in opportunity and are optimistic. And Donald Trump uses "Make America Great Again" and the phrase like no one's ever seen before over and over again, and says think of it all the time because he's acting like a shit hypnotist.
Repetition. Changing the language. The key to propaganda.
Is careful, because you're going to get into like you're about to define the with a Jewish husband. I'm sorry I left that one off. You're about to define the entire Trump campaign.
Involves the media. Pseudo-events. Pseudo-events. That is...
events that weren't really events, but they're sort of events. Like, what?
Non-news stories that are created as news stories.
Oh, I see. J.D. Vance, while not being a couch fucker, being an embarrassment to everyone around him and basically a perpetual cringe machine anytime he steps into a grocery store or a donut shop. You mean like that?
Treated as news stories and have a 2, 3, 4 day shelf life as a news story, while real news stories are ignored, while real facts...
Jesus Christ. Trump is lucky that's how the news cycle works.
While real issues that affect the common person, they're dismissed. You can see this now. Pseudo-events, pseudo-news. So what...
No, give me an example, fuckwad. You don't get to just lay that out there. What do you mean? Because I guarantee whatever you're going to express, I got 10 versions of fucking something. Like, here's a good one. Fucking, they're eating the dogs. They're eating the pets of the people who live there. They're eating the cats and the geese, right? That would be a good example of a pseudo fucking event. That, by the way, in a legit situation, got people's lives threatened. Not just fucking Haitian immigrants, but the people in that fucking city. There were hospitals and schools that got bomb threats.
What does this mean? What this means is that the campaign is spending money, and the campaign is using Kamala Harris to push falsities.
Okay, first of all, falsities. Falsities. The campaign is using Kamala Harris to push falsities. Well, I'd say first out of the gate, I'm pretty sure they're real. Secondly, if they aren't, it's none of your goddamn business. Thirdly, her campaign is using her. Fuck are you talking about?
Nonsense. Shiny objects.
What do you mean? You got to give me a look. I get it, you can't just fire off a bunch of synonyms, you fucking dirtbag.
To chase the things that affect your lives. They don't want to talk about food, security, crime, the border.
They talked about all those things. She will sign the border bill if it crosses her desk. They want to do $25,000 to help first-time home buyers, and they want to increase the supply of homes in the country by 3 million through a myriad of different programs by the end of her first term. Well, I know this. You know this. I know you know this.
Gasoline prices, what your children are taught in school, those are non-issues.
Of course they're working on bringing down gas prices. They have. How are they non-issues? When she brings it up, they both candidates are bringing it up all the time. Just Trump has got this like, I'm gonna magically do it. That's his plan.
Now, to you, they're everyday issues, but to the manipulators, to these masterminds, these are non-issues. They decide what the issues are. So we call these hoaxes.
What? Wait a minute. Sorry. Gas prices are hoaxes? What the fuck are you talking about?
Remember Trump talking about the Russian hoax?
Yeah, he's full of shit. It wasn't a hoax at all. Like 8 people from his fucking campaign went to jail. He had to pardon 3 of them.
We call these illusions. These are hoaxes. These are illusions.
All right, why use both words? Make a distinction. I'm getting annoyed now. Look, I understand he fell and hit his head. But this is pretty much what he talks like all the time. I don't know if there's some sort of lasting impact on his brain.
Aimed at avoiding the real problems because they have ideas, they have belief systems, but they know you will reject them.
Sorry, Trump, blame the Jews if I lose, Drudge Report. Yeah, not good. Also, the hand signal right there, I'm going to guess that Drudge picked that for a reason.
Perfect example. See that? That's the front page of the Drudge Report.
Yes, noted left-wing, pro-Stalin zine.
The web page of the Drudge Report. It's been hanging up there last week for a few days. It's caught everybody's attention. It's become a big issue. And so there you have Donald Trump, where they hope, the illusion, they hope they're projecting Donald Trump with a Hitler salute.
Who's they, motherfucker? It's the Drudge Report. MSNBC didn't do that. What the fuck's wrong with you? Wait a minute. You don't actually think the 2 guys that shot at him are Democrats, do you?
Wearing his red hat, Trump, blame the Jews if I lose.
Yeah, he actually said that, Mark. He said, you're a Jew. He said that.
And this is based in part on this group Mediaite.
No, it isn't. It's based largely on what he fucking said.
That took a piece of the clip of the president's speech to a large group of Jewish supporters in Washington, D.C., where I had family members attending. I could not attend, but I had family members attending. It was a
great. So I'm sure they gave you an honest review of what happened.
Fantastic speech. It was a temperate speech. It was a factual speech.
He looked like a televangelist Macy's balloon that had been popped.
It was an exciting speech.
Okay, so you sorry, I forgot. Yeah, you weren't there.
And the people left there, the vast majority of whom were Jews, very excited and very happy to have met.
The vast majority?
Met the president and hear what he said. But this is what they turned it into.
Who's they, motherfucker? That's the Drudge Report. This isn't CNN, you fuckwad. Like, what's wrong with you?
Adolf Hitler. Blame the Jews if I lose. What Trump was saying was...
Shape this for us. I'm very excited. This I look for. Now, by the way, I just want to clarify. When Trump said, blame the Jews if I lose, the idea that if Jews don't vote for him, which they normally don't vote for Republicans anyways in mass, and there aren't enough of them, especially of voting age in the country, to shift the election in any meaningful way in, say, swing states, for example. Jews aren't the swing in fucking Wisconsin. They're not the swing in Michigan, and they won't be the swing in fucking Arizona either. There are a few areas where there are large groups of them, and then there are just Jews throughout the country who live where they're going to live, but they don't vote as part of a block because, well, I'm a Jew, I'm going to do this. Like, they don't tend to do that anyways, much less if they live in Tennessee or some shit, right? What Trump meant was, and what he clearly was saying, was that the Jews control the elections, and the Jews are letting these brown people in, and those people are, if I lose, it's going to be the Jews' fault because they're the ones orchestrating the Great Replacement theory, which is where the whole fucking Charlottesville thing came from. That's why they were chanting, Jews will not replace us. With what? With Mexicans and South Americans and black people from the rest of the world that will take your jobs. That's what they meant. That's what they're talking about.
I'm trying to do the very best I can to appeal to the Jewish community for its votes.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I heard it. Yeah, that's exactly. It was, you know what? It was almost, I think it was sweeter than that.
And he was saying also that here's my record as applies to the Jewish community. Just as Kamala Harris goes in front of the Islamist community, talks about her record, or goes in front of other communities and talks about her record.
Or goes and talks to her husband who's Jewish. I'm sure he's aware of her record, though. You know, now that I think of it.
Donald Trump has a record he is proud of and he should be proud of.
Oh, you mean the things he did without really thinking them through, like the Golan Heights and moving the embassy and declaring Jerusalem the capital, which triggered the Yahuwah Sinwar October 7th plan specifically. And killing the Iran deal so that they would have even more reason to go, well, fuck it, the end times are coming. Yeah, all that together. It's almost like when he got rid of the COPS program that Obama and Biden had put in that would help local police officers, police stations and state police broom out bad cops in spite of pushback from, say, the unions or whatever. And the COPS program helped that happen. And Trump killed it. And then Minneapolis couldn't get rid of somebody like Derek Chauvin. They could have before that, but he killed the program, so they couldn't do it. And then he also killed the pandemic response team in the same week he did the COPS program. And then what do you know, 2 years later, what the fuck? Yeah. Please stop accepting Sinwar's fucking excuses. He planned it. That's not his excuse. That was his reasoning. It played a part of it. Sorry. He may have done it eventually, but that's what triggered it now. It wasn't because Biden came in and changed policy.
When it comes to the state of Israel and Jews, as well as a record in so many other areas that he's proud of.
Yeah. I mean, he's been great for Jews, even when he's not doing anything that has anything to do with Jews. So they should just be happy. This is the same thing like women. Look, you may have lost the right to choose, but, gas was cheaper when we were all staying home during COVID. So I don't know what you bitches are whining about. Seems to be the thought.
Proud of, and he should be proud of. Mm-hmm. And he's talking about the substance. He's talking about his record. And he says, in so many words, I saw a poll that I got 29% of the Jewish vote in 2020, 26% in 2016, that I have about 40% of the support in the Jewish community.
It's gone down, you mean?
I better get 60% of the vote, or I may not be able to win in these, in some of these blue states. And,
you're not going to win in any of these blue states, you dumb motherfucker. That's the point. No, he's not making the case like I'm going to be if I got 60% of the Jewish vote instead of 40%, I would win New York. Okay, there's not enough Jews in New York for that. There's not enough Jews in, I don't know, like Los Angeles, San Francisco, whatever fucking blue state he thinks he's going to scoop up. He's not. There just aren't enough of them. What he means is the Jews run this shit, and they're the ones doing the great replacement theory. And if they don't get on my side and start helping me win, I'm going to lose. That's what he fucking means. It's not even about the Jewish vote, you cretin.
I could blame you folks for that. It was tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah. And I'm sure, Mark, what you wanted to do after you were recovering from your injury and the abuse you got from your live-in maid, I'm sure what you wanted to do was sweep up yet another bigoted statement from Donald Trump. Walk behind him with a shovel like he's a fucking elephant in a parade, just scooping up every piece of dung he leaves and going and with a big fucking smile on your face.
It was tongue-in-cheek.
Mm-hmm. He was being sarcastic. He was being silly, guys. Even though you can hear him and you can listen to him and you go, oh, he fucking means it. Nah, he didn't mean it. You got to have somebody like Mark translate it for you.
Everybody there knew
it. Everybody there knew it. Mm-hmm. So you mean the Jews that were there, or the majority of the Jews that were there, or the slim majority of non-Jews that were there, or...
And so they do...
They, fuck you, they. It's not they. That's the Drudge Report, you dumb motherfucker. How is, again, what the fuck? With the they. I'm done with the fucking they, all right? With the fucking they. Everybody's fucking, I'm so glad you guys have started to embrace they, them pronouns up in here, you fucking moron. But they. Drudge did that. It's not everywhere. This wasn't like, oh my God, every channel you turn on, they show him at that thing where he's saying, if I lose, the Jews are going to lose. And then he's doing this fucking Laura Ingraham and fuck, everybody put it together and they all seem to be, what fucking they? And literally, that's the only place I've seen that. Eesh.
Do this. Like they did with Charlottesville.
I'm sorry. They like they did with motherfucker. All right, hold on one second. Normally, here you go, Mark. This is for you, buddy. This is for you. It's from Brandeis University. The long, ugly, anti-Semitic history of Jews will not replace us. At the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, the crowd of very fine people chanted, "Jews will not replace us." They chanted at the Unite the Right rally organized by armed white nationalists in Charlottesville to stop the removal of a statue dedicated to Robert E. Lee. Heather Heyer, a 32-year-old paralegal from Charlottesville, was killed and 35 others were wounded when a 20-year-old neo-Nazi named James Alex Fields intentionally drove his car into a crowd of counter-protesters during the rally. Lead plaintiff Elizabeth Sines, a law student at the University of Virginia at the time of the rally, believes the lawsuit carries an important message. In an interview, she said, if you plan and execute violence towards Jewish people, the people of color, diverse communities like Charlottesville, you will be held responsible for your action. At first glance, it might not be clear what the demonstrators meant in chanting, "Jews will not replace us." Only about 2,000 Jews live in Charlottesville out of a total... a local total of 47,000. Nationally, Jews number no more than 7.6 million, meaning that just over 2% of Americans are Jewish. Indeed, recent studies suggest that America's Jewish birth rate has fallen, and Jews are barely replacing themselves, let alone the white population as a whole. Scholar of Jewish history Deborah Lipstadt, MA 72, PhD 76, age 19, has been nominated by President Joe Biden to serve as a special envoy to monitor and combat anti-Semitism, argued in an expert report presented to the court concerning the history, ideology, symbolism, and rhetoric of anti-Semitism, subsequently summarized in her personal testimony that the Charlottesville chant carried several meaning. It is simplest and most straightforward interpretation that that chant can be understood to say Jews will not replace us, i.e. white Christians in our job, our dominant place in society. We as whites will remain the dominant supreme force in society. Also, a subtler but deeper ideological meaning to this chant, rooted in the fear referred to by white nationalists of the Great Replacement or white genocide, the Charlottesville chant is expressing centuries-old fears that Jews, in league with peoples of color, are engaged in a nefarious plot to destroy white Christian civilization. That's what they're talking about, fucking Mark Levin, you prick. And so when he said there's very fine people on both sides, and in that crowd, there were very fine people, he's speaking of those folks. He wasn't speaking of some lady fanning herself who was a daughter of the American Revolution and believed she was, Confederacy is history and any of that shit. Again, if you like Robert E. Lee, you can go see his shit in a museum. But he doesn't he doesn't deserve a spot in the public square. Fuck that guy. Yeah, say they again. Right, hold on one second. Everybody seems to be calling me out, Mark. Mark, they're asking about me. They're saying, hey, say they again, motherfucker. Say they again, okay? Say they again.
Like they do with everything else that comes...
Oh, like they do with everything else. Hey, it might not be a good idea to speak in absolutes. Perhaps. But you gotta keep saying they, don't you? Gotta keep saying they.
Comes out of Donald Trump's mouth. And I want to remind you that, again, I guess it was a...
Sorry, they? What? Who? Hold on, motherfucker.
Everybody there knew it. And so they do this.
They do this. I'm sorry, I did not read that anywhere that Matt Drudge's pronouns are they, them. I'm Salty Cupcake, and this is no cupcake interview.
Like they did with Charlottesville.
Like they did with Charlottesville. They did it.
Like they do with everything else.
Like they. Say they again, motherfucker. Say they again.
Comes out of Donald Trump's mouth. And I want to remind you that, again, I guess it was a week from tomorrow, Donald Trump faced another assassination attempt. That's 2. Because of stuff like this.
No, not anything to do with that at all. As a matter of fact, this dude seemed to have made up his mind after Trump got out of the Iran deal after voting for him. And again, one guy does not equal a they. Fuck, the 2 shooters never met. They don't even constitute a they, you dumb motherfucker.
Because when you dehumanize Donald Trump,
he dehumanizes you back, or it's in response to him dehumanizing other people. And also, you don't really think that when we call you an asshole, we think you are a functional sphincter, right? It's a pejorative insult, you dumb motherfucker.
you create a hero mentality among sick people. That maybe they ought to do something about it.
Yeah, they. Yeah, they, them, they do it. They ought to do something about it. He or they, sure.
Less than a week after they stopped the second assassination attempt. This is the Drudge Report, based on Mediaite. And now we have Jewish organizations. Check that.
Yeah, obviously not real Jewish organizations, but the they version.
Liberal Democrat Jewish organizations.
Right, yeah. So a subset of a subset of a subset of them.
Condemning what Donald Trump said.
So the rest of the Jews just thought it was funny?
Condemning Donald Trump. Saying he sounds like Hitler.
No, he doesn't sound like Hitler. He sounds like a bigot. Dude, he can barely speak English. He certainly can't speak German.
Like it's the Third Reich all over again.
No. If it was the Third Reich all over again, they'd be better organized. Thank God they're not.
That's the problem we have in this country today.
Is it?
These are not real issues.
No, they're not. Him saying if he loses, the Jews will be to blame. That's not a real thing. And the media keeps creating these things. They, them, they do. They do. Every time they turn their head, they're always they. Right, Mark? Right, Mark? They got to keep doing it. Why won't they stop? Look, just because he says it doesn't mean they have to report it. Why do they always listen to what he says, and then they seem to feel the need to tell the American people, expecting them and they to process what he said and think about what they should do in terms of the election? Sounds like propaganda to me.
These are phony issues, even more than phony issues. They attempt to dehumanize one of the candidates, Donald Trump. Only one, Donald Trump.
Well, in all fairness, Kamala Harris hasn't said anything about Jews as a block in the pejorative. She hasn't blamed a single group if she loses ahead of time. Not at any point. Now, I'm sure if she did, the news would report on it 5 times as much as they did with Trump. Just say it.
And Kamala Harris, the media, and the Democrat Party are counting on all this. They're counting on it.
Yes, they are counting on Donald Trump to keep saying stupid shit that they can use against him. And if he would just stop saying stupid shit, he might do himself some good. But he can't stop saying stupid shit. Is that what you're saying? That's not what you're saying.
So she can squeeze her way into the Oval Office.
Oh,
one day the people.
Hold on, I got to say for the record, she can walk right in. She's petite, and the door will fit her just fine. Donald Trump there's argument that he had to squeeze himself in the last time he was there, and it's not getting any better.
People who fall for this, these lies.
You mean Republicans? Because that's who reads Drudge.
And unfortunately, people have fallen for stuff like this for hundreds of years, thousands of years.
Yes, that's true. People have been telling stories about Donald Trump for thousands of years. First they called him the fallen angel, and then they called him Lucifer, and then Beelzebub, and then they've just maligning him this whole time. And then I don't know if you saw The Exorcist was the first anti-Trump propaganda I remember seeing. All he wanted to do was be inside a little girl.
They'll wake up and say, "Oh my God, what did we do?"
They'll wake up and say, "Oh my God, what do we do?"
We elect somebody president of the United States who's wholly unqualified.
Oh, you mean like 2016?
Who didn't reveal herself, who turns out to be a Marxist Islamist.
A Marxist Islamist. You know those don't work together. I mean, there's some people who wish they did, but mm-mm.
Who failed as vice president. Oh my God, what did we do?
Well, obviously if she failed it as vice president, again, this kind of goes to the whole Biden is totally corrupt and incompetent. So incompetent that he's actually a good businessman and good for the country. He tries to destroy the country, but he's so bad at it, he just keeps helping.
And you can thank the Drudge Report.
Okay. Thanks, Drudge Report.
Mediaite, elements of the media. These
elements of the media? You don't mean Greg Kelly, do you?
Left-wing groups.
Oh, yeah. The left-wing group. Yeah.
Left-wing ethnic groups. But most of all, you can...
Whoa. The what?
Who failed as vice president. Oh my God, what did we do?
Uh-huh.
And you can thank the Drudge Report, Mediaite, elements of the media, these left-wing groups, left-wing ethnic groups.
Left-wing ethnic groups. I gotta tell you, buddy, your side seems hell-bent on blaming all problems in the world, even the ones they created, on quote-unquote left-wing ethnic groups. Now, I presume you mean Jews and just didn't want to say it again.
But most of all, you can thank the Democrat Party and their ideologues.
Thank you, Democrat Party and your ideologues. Good work. You're really stressing Mark Levin out and Trump. Awesome.
These are the campaigns they now run, filled with lies and deception.
Oh, it's terrible. Lies and deception. And that's your fucking job.
And illusions.
Illusions.
Before we get to them.
Oh, God. Okay. Can I just say for the record, shit.
So I guess now we'll have 5 days.
No, you won't. Shut the fuck up. This is, that was the end of the, Kamala Harris's campaign is the most diabolical campaign in modern American history. No, but besides that, boring, also insane, and pretty much standard fare. Now, I don't even know if I want to do this next video, and I have very little time, and I have so much stuff to cover, and Mark Levin, fuck you. You dragged us down this rabbit hole, and I spent far too much time on that video. But can I show you at the very least, audience, can I show you a thumbnail I feel enticing? One that feels like it wants to draw me in. It's almost like a dare. Because I think we might have found somebody that is the perfect woman for one of our regulars. This is the Association of Mature American Conservatives, AMAC. 10 million votes that shouldn't have been counted with Marley Hornick, proof of election fraud. Both of these women look like they would be on trial after a series of murders at a truck stop. I would send her down there, and then she would lure them into the pickup truck, and she would offer them, you know, a drink or two with the promise of some sexual relations afterwards. And then when they would pass out, we'd wake up, wake them up later, and they'd be tied to a table with a potato peeler in their rectum. Especially, let's just say you're going through pictures of yourself, and you're like, that one. I'm just going to say I think she looks all pretty. She looked like one of them Apple people when they make at the fair. The blonde woman I ain't too crazy about, but the lady next to her or whatever, I like how she looked just kind of crazy. You know what I mean? Like that kind of, hi, I'm Ficus. Welcome. Good to see you. There's a very strong chance I am either married to or related to one of these ladies, and we will find out in just a moment. Now, I have no idea what the content of this one is, but
we identified inside of the state's official records about the 2022 and 2020 elections, millions and millions of examples of what appear to be felony misconduct.
Yes, millions of examples of what appears to be. I think that's probably where we're going to run aground.
According to the United States Department of Justice's guidelines for prosecution of election offenses, what we've discovered is 29 million facial.
United Sovereign Americans for Freedom. So, sovereign citizens who give a fuck about voting? Weird.
Invalid registration records. These states had counted 2 million more votes than they have any record of voters having voted or participated. What we've done is...
Oh, she's talking about the votes that Trump bought while he was in office to try and guarantee that he would have 2 million more votes than he had the first time. Because remember that guy said, if you have this many votes, you can't lose. And then I got my ass kicked. Yeah, that part, okay, that's because he arranged for voter fraud in a bunch of states, and he figured if we get caught, we'll just claim that the fake votes went to Biden.
Is file lawsuits in 9 states. We filed federal lawsuits against the chief election official and the attorney general of each state, and
Texas and Florida?
Additionally, the attorney general of the United States.
Is it weird that, a couple of them are swing states, but the rest of them seem to be like red states where there's a lot of this voter fraud that you found? Especially ones that it looked like Trump might lose last time, and that there seemed to be a lot of
America Garland, because our concern is that they are not operating elections in a way that upholds the fundamental right of American citizens to choose representatives.
Right. Well, that's because Trump was in power and he was buying votes in all those red states, and then after that, of course, the secretaries of states in a few of these red states were protecting the Republicans that were in office, that got into office in 2020 or in 2016, to make sure they stayed in office, even if the voters were turning against them by jerry-rigging the vote as well.
Representatives.
BF, Better for America? Oh, BFA. I see. So that's an A. I thought they were BFing America.
Hello, everyone. I'm
Hi.
Rebecca Weber.
Hello, Rebecca Weber. My God. Here she is, this AMAC Better for America podcast. Okay.
You're watching Better for America.
By the way, is this the lady in the fucking picture at the beginning? I think it is. What? Is that a high school picture they were using that they also airbrushed?
I am so thrilled to be back with you. There really is nothing that brings me more joy than to be with all of you, and that...
Yes, and have that like weird Oingo Boingo theme music playing, kind of arguably a little too loud.
That is why I'm thrilled to announce our next guest.
Yes, I'm thrilled you're going to have her on here. I'm not going to watch most of it, but I figure we'll jump into the beginning of it because it's way too long.
On top of the mind for so many patriots, including AMAC members, is the upcoming presidential election, and there are so many valid concerns around irregularity.
Wait, Better for America podcast. BFAP? Really? Really?
How concerned should we be that the 2024 election will be free and fair?
Well, I mean, I guess if you're going to run on the idea that while Trump was president, he still lost by almost, by over 8 million votes, and you think it was stolen, it could be stolen from him while he was president of the United States, literally the leader of the free world, and he was incapable of driving back the cheating that you allege, what fucking shot does he have now that he's out of power? Right? I mean, I don't think there was any cheating at all, but I mean, if you're going to make that case, it doesn't work very well. Like I'm just going to say this: the deck is stacked against him. Is all I'm going to say.
Especially when we really did watch massive, blatant violations of election law. We saw that happen in 2020.
No, you didn't.
In 2022.
No, you didn't.
Now joining me to discuss election integrity and enhancing transparency in 2024 is Marley Hornick. Marley is the executive director of New York Citizens Audit, which is a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization.
Right.
Dedicated to election integrity.
That's right. She's not picking sides, people, okay? As far as she's concerned, leadership of the country is a coin flip, and she's just there to judge whether it lands on its side.
And she is also the CEO of United Sovereign Americans. Marley is a public...
So what you're saying is if she gets pulled over by a police officer, it'll be the worst stop of his fucking day, and he's lucky if she doesn't shoot him?
Published writer. She's appeared in Town Hall, Blaze Media, American Thinker, just to name a few.
Yes, and all of them, on the margins... maybe, a little right-leaning, okay? I'll give you that. But she's very nonpartisan.
Marley, welcome to Better for America. I'm real happy to have you with me today.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. It's really a pleasure to be here and have the opportunity to share some of our work with your viewers.
It is so important, the work that you're doing, and I want to start with really how you began. You were here, I'm in New York. You had local New York beginnings. The New York Citizens Audit really revealed extensive irregularities in voter registration.
Irregularities? You mean during 2020 when everybody was voting from home?
Across the state. Tell us what led you to start this initiative and maybe how your personal background inspired you really to commit to investigating election integrity.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, what inspired me to do all of this was my prayers.
Yes, her bipartisan, nonpartisan prayers.
And my feeling that if no one in America stepped up to do this work, it might not get done.
Probably
and
not.
For me personally, and I know for all of the thousands of volunteers.
Yes, if the Lord doesn't if we don't call upon the Lord, tuberculosis will take me.
That we have now in New York and tens of thousands across America, that would be unacceptable. It would be unacceptable to not solve the problem of our election misconduct.
Yeah, and so you, just for the record, you don't think prayer is going to do it? You think God does not have the ability to remedy this, to change hearts in a way that will keep them from... I'm just clarifying, I'm with you, obviously. What you're arguing is God is weak, and without your interpretation of whatever voice you're hearing in your fucking head, the Lord's will not be carried out on the earth plane. And so you, in a totally nonpartisan way, have to guarantee that properly registered citizens have to re-register 3 or 4 times between now and the election.
Yeah, and I've seen so much of the work that you've done. I've read it right here in New York. You've uncovered a lot, Marley.
Yes, you totally have. You uncovered a lot. I saw it. You saw it. We all saw it.
But now you are working on the national level through United Sovereign Americans. So I want to talk a little bit about that. You've expanded your efforts beyond New York. Tell us the most significant findings from your national investigations, and how do they compare to what you've uncovered here in New York?
Let me guess. It's worse.
Sure. I mean, just to go back, the work that New York Citizens Audit did was monumental. And
yeah, it does. You guys remember the big change in the New York vote that shifted everything so that remember when you guys remember when they had in New York, right? It was in New York, and the whole everything different. What the? Eric Trump lost the ability to have a charity in the state. The Trumps lost the ability to run a business there. No, it wasn't that. It was something else. It was huge. Never mind. It was huge. New York. And now she's going to take what she did in New York, which totally changed everything, and turn it loose on America. And the same thing will happen.
And we identified inside of the state's official records about the 2022 and 2020 elections, millions and millions of examples of what appear to be felony misconduct according to the United
Yes, but enough about George Santos.
States Department of Justice's guidelines for prosecution of election offenses. When we worked to try to bring these to officials all over New York State, we were basically stonewalled and ended up in an ongoing apparent criminal investigation by Letitia James herself, alleging that we have violated we've intimidated voters across.
Also invasion of privacy, also, trying to scare people into voting Republican, I guess, the next time around or something along those lines.
New York State in some kind of equity with what the Ku Klux
equity
Klan was doing in 1871 in the United States and in the Deep South, just by trying to verify registration and voting issues. So
no, you can verify registrations in a home completely online. And issues would be, you mean going door to door and asking people who they actually voted for as non-officials for the government, as a sovereign citizen group going door to fucking door?
What we realized, myself and many of the people in New York Citizens Audit, and also our dear friend and counselor at that time, advisor Harry Howery, was that...
Poor Harry. Oh, Harry. Whatever happened to him?
We were going to have to make this a national issue because we were not going to be able to win.
Sorry. So let me get this right before I leave you because you're boring the fuck out of me. Let me get this straight. You are going to take your failure to accomplish anything in New York and go national with it. Well, hey, good luck. And I'm just going to tell you right now that you are wasting your time, her time, your money, her money, the supporters that send you money. You're wasting all of their money, and I'm for it. I just want you to know that every dime you spend legally fighting legitimate votes across the country, while a pain in the ass, is money that is not going to help get Republicans elected. And I want to thank you for that. And way to put your money where your ass is. Now, speaking of ass, ladies and gentlemen, we haven't heard from him in a long time. It's Ron Paul. Now, Ron Paul, for those of you who don't know, was one of Russia's first astroturfing successes. He was nowhere near as popular in his ideology and what he was pushing as everybody thought, and he was largely getting this odd boost from overseas, including money. And this is very short. But his thing is, weeks before U.S. election, Israel massively escalates attacks on Lebanon, as if they are somehow related. Like the whole world has to pause the attacks that are happening on them and their response to it because we're having an election. In some cases, I'm sure the Ukrainians are tiptoeing around a little bit where they would rather stride because they know the election hinges on some of it. And I'm sure he believes the same thing about Israel to some degree. But that said, if you're being, especially with Hezbollah, if you're being fired on and you're Israel, you're not going to go, should we really? Because I got news for you. As all the attention that went to Gaza, all the attention that went to the Palestinians and support for them, and rightly so, specifically about the Palestinians in Gaza, nobody gives a fuck about Hezbollah. Not really. There's some people whinging about it because they hate Israel, but nobody is throwing themselves under the fucking bus to protect Hezbollah. or anybody, the people they surround themselves with on the Lebanese border where they're firing rockets from. There is not the same built-up structure of support for the Palestinian state or the Palestinians as an ethnic group or an ideology or what have you. They're technically neither, but whatever. Or the idea that there should be a two-state solution or indeed a three-state solution, that Gaza and the West Bank would be two totally different countries, with one of them being, more aligned with Jordan, for example. West Bank would be more like aligned because it was originally called Transjordan, something like that. Perhaps there's an argument to be had there. None of that conversation is happening about Lebanon. And the idea that the Israelis would hesitate at all to take on Hezbollah when Hezbollah went, oh, there's an opening. They got attacked on October 7th. Let's fucking bomb them, right? Okay. But according to this dickhead, I was about to say he believes something. I don't know what he's going to say. More than likely, it's just Russian talking points.
Israel said last week, we are going...
Thousands of Lebanese flee war zone with Israel as death toll surpasses 180 in a single day. The government of Lebanon has ordered that classes... Tyler Durden. Okay, so that the dude who writes under a pseudonym from fucking Fight Club. Classes will be canceled for public and private schools across various parts of the country, especially in the south. It's becoming evident that Israel-Hezbollah fighting is expanding, and with Israeli attacks getting bigger and bigger. Current emergency directive will see schools closed for at least 2 days, with an extension after that. New measure is aimed at protecting civilians. Impacts the government, South Lebanon, Nabatea, Bekaa, Baalbek, Carmel, and the southern suburbs, according to the Education Ministry. As you would expect.
Going into Lebanon, and as
also Hezbollah will need those buildings to fire rockets from.
We see this morning, they have started to do that. Now, they haven't engaged with troops yet, but Zero Hedge conveniently gives us a good summary. Thousands of Lebanese flee war zone with Israel as death toll surpasses 180 in a single day. I think it's now closer to 300 with over 1,000 wounded. Now, what they want to do is and we talked about this last week, they want to be able...
Jesus Christ, I was not ready for what this dude looked like. I guess there's a perfect hinge point between creepy youth pastor and angry televangelist past his prime, right? There's got to be a moment where you're like, I'm kind of both.
Able to move the Israelis back up to northern Israel that have been threatened by Lebanon's rockets coming back down in response to Israel's rockets going in there because it's costing them a lot of money. But it is a mass escalation. Let's go to that next one from the Hedge article. Israel appears to be encouraging the depopulation of southern Lebanon so that it can expand the war.
Why would they encourage the depopulation if they're trying to genocide the Lebanese out of existence? Oh, wait, because they aren't. They're warning people, like they do in Gaza, that bombs are coming. Please clear. We're blowing up the facilities, and we're not interested in killing lots of people. They literally were like... now, again, after they've blown up the pagers and the radios, I can understand why people aren't immediately going to their phones and checking for messages. It might be counterproductive in that regard.
Many thousands have reportedly fled as panic sets in. Israeli army spokesman Daniel Hagari announced Monday, that's today, to all the residents of villages in Lebanon, soon we will attack terrorist targets in Lebanon and call on everyone who is near their properties or inside houses where Hezbollah is hiding ammunition to stay away from them immediately.
By the way, hey, do you guys remember when Hezbollah said that to Israelis? By the way, Jewish, Christian, and Muslim Israelis living in the northern part of Israel. Remember when Hezbollah warned Muslims and Jews and Christians and others living in the northern part of Israel that that bombs would be coming in? Oh, right. They never did.
To this, I would say, Dr. Paul, we've seen this movie before. Everything Israel bombed in Gaza was Hamas, whether it was a hospital, a church, what have you. And we're seeing the same thing now. Everything that Israel bombs in Lebanon is Hezbollah, regardless. And we're seeing a lot of propaganda that there's munitions under every residential building. So
have you seen these buildings blow up, fuckwad?
So when they hit it, it's hit. And I would say it's war, so I'm sure there's propaganda on both sides.
Yeah, probably.
of the war, but we do know that it's getting very, very deadly, and there's really a question.
Yeah, war tends to be that way.
As to how far this will go.
Also, for the record, after October 7th, does anybody think Hezbollah had to bomb Israel from the north? Was there any reason for that area? Was there a specific, would it stop any of the arms or anything that they were dealing with in Gaza? Maybe ultimately, was it supposed to be a distraction of forces to blow up civilian homes in the northern part of Israel while the fight was going on in the south? Was that in the defense of Hamas? No. Or even the Palestinian people? No. Did they have to do it? And by the way, does Israel have to take it? Is there something that Israel and Lebanon have been, ginning up, like the situation in Gaza with the Palestinians and Hamas for a long time, other than the Lebanese Muslims want all the Israeli Jews to die and get the fuck out, which is, I'm just saying, not a good point of argument.
It almost seems like our policies are there to aggravate it and bring it.
Our policies.
On. Some people want to bring on a statement this weekend. You wouldn't be surprised about this, but Lindsey Graham was sort of, sentimental in a way. Boy, what we need to do is get Iran. They're the ones that are running this thing. We got to destroy Iran.
Last video with Mark Levin, we're talking about the fact that he keeps saying our and they and our. Now, granted, he's a Republican, so this sort of fits in that regard. But the Mark Levin was externalizing the they with the press because the Drudge Report called out Trump for Nazi-esque statements about Jews and his little hand. I'm not going to make the gesture. I'm not going to do it. Nobody's going to catch a freeze frame of me doing that shit. I'm way ahead of you fuckers. But this is a similar kind of thing. Like, dude, it's not our problem. You got a problem with Lindsey Graham. You guys are in the same fucking party, technically. Call him. And I don't give a fuck. I've been working for a long time, as have most of my Democratic friends, to either broom Lindsey Graham or get him to finally come out of the closet and lighten the fuck up and maybe experience life outside of that shell. And maybe there's some clarity that comes with it. Maybe.
Which is really scary.
We would say to Lindsey, who's this we, Lindsey? Because it ain't going to be you, that's for sure. Israeli diaspora.
I think what he means is it's that Lindsey Graham isn't going to fight when it comes to a fight with Iran in, that as far as soldiers and whatnot. That's not true of any serving member of Congress, or especially the Senate.
The minister says Lebanon isn't a state. He advocates taking the South. So they've talked about this now. They want to take a massive chunk of Lebanon, which is, remember, that's what they did with Syria. They took the Golan Heights for themselves. So it looks like now they want to take...
Wait, didn't Trump give them the Golan Heights?
A big chunk of Lebanon.
Tensions between Israel and Hezbollah are escalating substantially, with scores of people killed in Lebanon in the past week. Israel's far-right government is stepping up the rhetoric and talking war. Diaspora Minister Amichai Chikli is the latest voicing pro-war rhetoric. This is a zero hedge again, because that's all they do is read. So basically, Ron Paul's podcast is now a zero hedge podcast, or a book on tape club. Declaring overnight comments on X that Lebanon does not exist, it does not, in his opinion, fit the definition of a state, and that this gives Israel every right to invade and seize southern Lebanon. Okay. I mean, I don't know what their functional government situation is. I mean, obviously, Hezbollah it controls that area and is not technically an arm of the state. So the argument could be that southern Lebanon is not a state because the state has abdicated that area to the control of Hezbollah, right? I mean, this happens all over Africa all the time. I don't know what.
On for themselves, and they call it a buffer zone. This is also very much a land grab, which is what we know Gaza is about as well.
oh, okay, Gaza's a land grab. So they were just waiting for rape squads to just come over the wall, and they're like, oh boy, now we'll get them. Yeah, you know, land for hostages. That's, you know, you can lose a couple hundred people. You know, fuck it.
They want all the Palestinians out so they have more beachfront territory.
That's the Trump plan, I think.
Very clear. Israeli ministers are very open. They're not shy at all about talking about it. You know, it's a very open thing, and so that's also what we're looking at in Lebanon.
Wow. All right. So that is, according to Ron Paul's Liberty Report, it's all about real estate, which would be the why they're not big fans of Jared Kushner and why they think this is all just a real estate grab and always has been and stuff like that. I mean, you hate to see them fighting amongst each other. You know, I think a lot of us are like, well, I feel a responsibility to clean up some of what's going on in the Republican Party. Not going to. Now, how am I doing on time? Shit, only got 10 minutes left. All right, a couple of things really quick. You're watching Hal Sparks Megaworldwide, by the way, the greatest live stream on the history of live streams, period, end of story. I'm by myself here. Well, I mean, you're here, obviously, and you're a wonderful addition to it. But as far as hosting this thing, it's just me by my lonesome. You'll see a bunch of these other podcasts and live stream dudes with, like, bringing on other people to pick up the slack and kind of carry the conversation, or ask somebody like Jamie to throw up an image for them in the middle of it because it's getting too boring or they're too easily confused. I do it myself because I work for a fucking living. That said, hit the like, share the show, etc., etc., etc. Patreon.com/HalSparks is a great way to support the show on the regular. And it's because of our Patreons and the consistency of them that I'm able to do the show without putting anything behind a paywall, and I will not do that anyways, even if it means going broke doing it. But I'm not hiring a stew, Carrie. I'm not going to have a stew sitting by there just so that I can make them listen to stupid ideas. I'm not gonna. No, I will not. However, speaking of the Blaze, this lady who I'm not familiar with, we're in new territory. I got two videos from her, one hair back, one hair down. I don't know. She looks terrific both ways. I don't really have, her name is Jill Savage, which I don't know if she's related to Michael Savage. So her real name is Jill Wiener. We don't know. My sister's name is Jill, no relation. Don't know what's going on here. But this is what I would call part of the popcorn report. Mitch McConnell betrays Donald Trump with Ukraine spending plot. Yes, exactly. Oh, so good.
Trump are at odds. While Trump recoups from his second near assassination attempt,
recuperates from it? What do you mean? You mean by continuing to golf or selling Bitcoin?
Mitch McConnell is out there and certainly concerned about military spending and potentially raising taxes. Chris Bedford, senior editor for politics and Washington correspondent.
Blaze Media. Mitch McConnell versus Donald Trump and the voters. Tell us, Christopher Bedford, in your weird little Blaze News Tonight studio. Jesus Christ. By the way, the fucking flop sweat at the Blaze once this DOJ Russia money thing started has been fantastic.
And for Blaze Media explains this riff in his latest Beltway brief at theblaze.com/Bedford. And he joins us now. Chris, it's been a few days, so excited to have you back on the program. And let's deep dive into this division between McConnell and Trump.
It's great to be back. It's great to feel good again.
How can you feel good again? We are a nation in decline.
So McConnell on Donald Trump and McConnell and GOP donors and McConnell on the Republican base have really not been on the same page for a long time. McConnell, I've written about this for the Blaze before, really is best summed up as someone leading his own party of appropriators with their own specific agenda. For him, his additional little interest.
Hold on. Mr. President Geek says, seriously, Hal, I went to grade school with her. Ask me about her anytime. This woman, this Jill Savage woman, for real? That's amazing. And by the way, I think this guy is AI as well.
That's usually our Republican judges, which can be helpful from time to time to the GOP. but also protecting campaign finance reform and stopping that from going through. Now, recently, he wants to stake his legacy on the Ukraine war. So we come off this weekend where Donald Trump has now undergone.
No, I wouldn't say that's true. I would not say that Mitch McConnell is staking his legacy on the Ukraine war. What I would say is that people at the Blaze, because they know which side the butter is on, and Donald Trump have staked their legacy on Russia's survival. If not, winning and thriving in Ukraine, which is a foregone conclusion, ain't gonna fucking happen, right? What they've staked their reputation and their legacy on is Russia doing well.
His second assassination attempt.
The attempted assassination attempt. He didn't even get that far.
And we come off this past week where House Republicans are fighting, although not doing too well, fighting to attach the SAVE Act to a continuing resolution.
Yeah, that failed. Sorry, that's, dude, check please.
This is something, by the way, that the Republican nominee, Donald Trump, has been pushing for. He did so again today, very angrily, very loudly, said
yeah, but not because he wanted it to pass, but because he didn't want the budget to pass. He wants them to shut down the government. He doesn't give a fuck about the SAVE Act. Anything that's in the SAVE Act wouldn't go into place until after this election anyways. You cannot implement new rules about an election while the election is going on anywhere. You would just gum up the works. If anything, that's maybe what he hopes it will do, is that there'll be legal challenges during the fucking election when states try to implement stuff at the last minute and ask people for 2 forms of ID at the fucking polls when they only need 1, and they try to change the rules while from the time the person has left their fucking house to the time they've actually arrived at the at the polling place. It's not gonna fucking happen. He wants them to shut down the fucking government. That's why he wants this. He thinks it's a win for them. You know why he thinks that? Because he's a fucking idiot. You know why Mike Johnson passed the continuing resolution to keep the government funded? Because he's awful, but he's not a fucking idiot. And Donald Trump hating on Mike Johnson is a situation where an idiot is very angry at someone who isn't an idiot because they didn't do something idiotic the idiot wanted them to do. Just to clarify.
If you don't pass the SAVE Act, if you don't do this thing that we've been talking about in the show now for months, then there's no reason to negotiate with Democrats. Maybe you guys in Capitol Hill should get used to winning as opposed to simply losing. Mitch McConnell's...
Yeah, but keep in mind, Donald Trump's at the top of the ticket. You're going to be losing no matter what. If he, as long as he's around, you guys are going to lose. He's a loser.
Ignoring all of that. He has his lunch, which helps set the agenda every single week that the Senate's in session.
Yeah, they are organized. I don't like them, but they do the normal stuff. It's impressive. Trump is incapable of having any kind of organizational skills, especially now as his brain is starting to decay right in front of us.
The Republican leadership holds its members only off the record Tuesday lunch. And everyone files in here kind of expecting to get their marching orders. And
their Martian orders?
Entire thing is essential, at least the main thing. The main thrust of the lunch is a presentation by the Rand Corp.
Please don't show Mitch McConnell and say the word thrust. It's just gross.
About how more money as a percentage of GDP needs to be going to the Pentagon, and that maybe raising taxes is the way to do that. It's off message for what the Republican campaign is doing, which is...
No, it isn't. Donald Trump is like, I rebuilt the military, we have brand new everything, and I'm going to fund the military more than anybody else, and we got to be strong, and blah, blah, blah. He's not like, we need to... Find me one instance where Donald Trump on the campaign trail said, we've got to cut defense spending.
Campaigning on lower taxes and making tax cuts. It's off message from Republican and I think American criticism of the Pentagon, which right
fuck off
now is at all-time recruitment lows.
Yeah, that's because unemployment is low. That's always true when there are more jobs available. The people who choose to go into the military because it's the only financial option for them gets lower when there are more jobs available. That's always true.
No one's been fired yet, as was pointed out in the debate and repeatedly before. No one's been.
Why would they be
fired for the disastrous and deadly withdrawal from Kabul? Not a single consequence.
Well, did Trump fire anybody for not getting us out of Afghanistan the entire time he was in office? Did he fire anybody because, hey, I want to get out of here. I ran on getting us out of here. It's been a year already. Get me the fuck out of Afghanistan or you're fired. Did he do that ever?
Mitch McConnell wants to send them more money. And this is kind of part of his broader strategy and a lot of
Afghanistan,
the Senate GOP strategy, which is to try to tie the hands of an incoming administration, especially if it's Trump's.
You mean an incoming administration, not an income? Never mind.
Foreign policy. By eventually negotiating a deal that would allow for spending on the Ukraine war for, if Lindsey Graham were to get his way, up to 10 years appropriated by Congress and protected by Congress. That sets him up for a clash with basically everyone else on the right.
Chris, it's worth stopping for a minute just to explain.
Yeah. Settle in to give us the rundown.
Explain to people, because it's hard to accept this is the way
it is. Yeah,
it is. And you might characterize it differently than I would, but to explain to people that Mitch McConnell is essentially his own side, his own power base, right? He represents Washington, D.C., and that he
technically represents the great state of Kentucky, my home state originally.
Is able to keep that position because he has hundreds of millions of dollars that he uses, some people would say like a mob boss, and doles out to Senate candidates to keep them going. So what you need to understand if you're in the audience is that if you are in charge of your party in the Senate, that means you control a pot of money that you dole out. That's what keeps you in charge. I mean, could you talk about that a little bit in your own words and how people just need to understand, I mean, if you're going to look at this in terms of power.
Sorry. So Mitch McConnell's able to raise money for other Republicans because as the minority leader or the majority leader, that's one of your big jobs. Same thing with Kevin McCarthy when he was doing it. Just the fact that Mike Johnson can't do it is somehow special. Fuck me. See you, Jupiter.
This is its own power base, right? He's out from under Trump.
God forbid. Jesus Christ. Okay, so one more thing real quick, because we should look at the hair up version of this lady, of Jill Savage, who someone in our chat room allegedly went to school with. Mystery illness strikes Trump rally attendees. Was it a chemical attack? I have a theory.
Stirred up some local controversy in a largely left-wing city. But before the event, a Pima County supervisor posted a sign in Spanish on social media that read, "F you, MAGA, no more orange." But the real shock came after the rally when 20 attendees reported mysterious symptoms like blurry vision and facial swelling. With no clear cause, this strange illness has left many wondering what really happened. So I'm joined by Matthew Peterson, editor-in-chief for Blaze News, Steve Baker, investigative journalist for Blaze Media, and Christy Kelly, a political journalist who recently wrote about this for Arizona Globe. So Christy, let's start with you. Can you walk us through what?
I'm gonna go with Trump farted, and it was blindingly ascetic.
Happened at this Tucson rally?
Yes. So as you explained, it wasn't not an ordinary rally. I mean, there was a lot of consternation going into the rally.
Oh, consternation. Going into the rally, there was consternation? I mean, I got to be honest, considering Trump says he's not really a conservative, that he's just the common sense president and he's a con artist, consternation sounds like something he would trademark.
The namesake of the venue, Linda Ronstadt, published to social media a lengthy post stating her displeasure with Trump even being there. And then, of course,
sorry, this whole thing became an issue because Linda Ronstadt has a theater named after her?
Board of supervisor. So, like every rally, Trump had supporters behind him. Some Latino.
Yes, I will notice if you stand behind Trump, It's I'm just saying there's a chance you might come in contact with a caustic airborne substance.
For Trump were seated to his right. So if you're looking at the stage, they were actually going to be
yes, center of Donald Trump's one cheek sneak technique.
To his left, if you're in the audience facing.
Who's sneaking up the foot? There's somebody behind you. Oh, it's your friend. Never mind.
So about, I would say, let's say 20 to 25 people were seated behind Trump.
Mm-hmm. So they're behind Trump. And they start having issues with something that burned their eyes and made them sick. Gotcha.
Of those that were seated behind him, I've spoken to 10.
Wow. And did most of them smell like used fish sandwiches?
Who have come down with some sort of mystery illness.
Probably, hey, one thing we can't say, it wasn't vaccine related.
So, what if these people told you?
I really couldn't understand them. They had their tongues were swollen and they smelled like, just saying.
Yes, so they said, immediately, of course, they're on the stage for anywhere from 3 to 4 hours.
Yeah, and they were fine. And then Trump came up and the wind shifted. And all of a sudden, they experienced some very strange symptoms.
Sit there on the stage, waiting for Trump to get there, the other dignitaries to speak. They didn't think anything of it. Everything in the rally went fine.
Yeah, everything was great until after Trump got up there and started speaking. Then they started feeling very strange.
Every single person that I spoke to said 20 to 30 minutes after they left the rally.
Yeah, well, it takes time to sink in, So.
They began to get blurry eyes,
That's common. Yeah, for most people.
Blurry vision. Some said their nose started stinging.
Yeah, that's pretty much. They probably didn't notice while they were there that it, because they're used to it.
And they started experiencing redness that progressively got worse.
Mm-hmm. You don't say.
I spoke to one lady. She said she even doused her eyes with milk because they were hurting so bad.
Yeah, well, it's like, some people call farts cookies if you have little kids. Oh, somebody's making cookies. So sometimes milk is milk and cookies. Works very well.
Until she finally had to go to the ER. Of about 6 or 7 that I spoke to, they did end up in the ER, and they ended up being referred to their ophthalmologist. So it got to the point. Tucson is a
stinging eyes.
Fairly small city. So later.
So they were all there together, and it didn't occur to them that perhaps.
In the night, the doctor, when the people came, the doctor was like, "Oh, you must have been at the Trump rally."
Right, because I can smell you. And they were like, "Why do you say that?" And he was like, "Well, I don't want to be rude, but you smell like, you got the hint. You have a hint of about you."
We've had others come in,
and they all smelled like.
So of the 2 that I spoke to that were referred.
Which one did you speak to first? Number 1 or number 2?
To their ophthalmologist that actually gave me the paperwork. They all indicated bilateral ocular chemical burn.
Yes, I think that's directly tied to a well done steak with ketchup on it.
and that they were diffusing the eyes with eye drops to treat a chemical abrasion. So the
So some form of like acetic compound that led to this. Gotcha.
emergency room physicians were less definitive. They were like, it could have been upset, the exposure to the lighting. It could have been.
Yeah. There were so many options that could have been part of it, but nobody really knows. Yeah. So they're all we know is they were all fine, and then they were standing behind Trump at his rally, and then something affected them that was like a chemical burn. And nobody's quite sure what the origin of what it would be. Is
been extreme exposure to lighting, or it could have been something, an irritant in the air.
I think you're onto something there, ma'am. It could have been, how did she say it? An irritant in the air. Good.
But I do have these two medical reports in front of me that do indicate that the ophthalmologist.
Two. You've counted them. There's one, and then there's number two. Which one are you reading first? Number two?
Said it was some sort of chemical burn.
Now, is there any ongoing
Right.
investigation for?
No. There's, Trump left town, and so did the problem.
A potential source of where?
We have some idea where maybe the sound, the attack came from. No one really knows for sure, but there's a lot of options.
Some of this could have come from, what this could have caused, because now you're saying the doctors, they were aware of.
It's a mystery, and nobody really knows what possibly could have led. Ooh.
This as the people were even coming in.
Yeah, because it was fine when they got there. It wasn't until Trump went on stage and
Yes, so this is definitely where it gets a little tricky, because the
yes, very tricky.
rally was on Thursday.
Right. Thursday.
Friday morning, some of these participants, they're all in this prayer group together. So this is.
Oh, I see. So the Lord couldn't protect them from the power of and they were all praying together, and they were like, Lord, what could be the source of my sorry, I lost my train of thought, Lord. What could have.
This is how I even heard about it, because one of the
Wait, you're in a prayer group with the people
that was on the prayer call put it on social media. It was like,
yeah, and luckily, so far with all the advancements, none of the social media sites are scratch and sniff.
like, hey, pray for these people. They've been injured after attending the Trump rally, and so it was not their immediate concern to alert the media or even to really tell anybody per se. They did call the people who placed them on the stage, so they were invited on the stage by local.
I see. So they weren't planning on standing and say, I'll just call it the blast zone. And they probably would have rather been, what's the word? Upwind?
Organizers. They called them. They've called the facility. I've called the facility. I have not heard a statement from either the facility or the Tucson police, who I know have also been alerted.
Now, you haven't spoken to anybody since Trump used the facilities? I see. What, do you think there's any reason to believe that he too was harmed? Or do you think he's got sort of an immunity?
I want to.
Did you just burp in my ear? That's gross. What? Have you no shame, ma'am?
go to Steve Baker, because I mean I don't want to speculate, but I do want to speculate. I mean, one thing that we should say, people out there.
Yeah, one thing, it could have been, trouble you're in, but you're in and you're in and you're in. But, number two.
Are saying, and the reason in part this is drawing attention and is concerning is because there have been people talking about Havana Syndrome and
That's right.
directed energy weapons out there, not just on an Alex Jones type show, but in the government itself. There's been congressional hearings. Steve, do you want to talk a little bit about that and maybe?
Yes, Trump has some sort of directional energy weapon that comes out behind him that perhaps is, if it's used on civilians, violates the Geneva Convention. And there's been stories about this. He famously, 1/16/40, Donald Trump, obviously shat himself trying to use that energy weapon at the debate with Biden.
Speculate a little bit on what people are saying out there?
Yeah, but before I do any speculation at all, I would like to ask Christy, first of all.
To pull my finger.
Is in these medical reports from the doctors, whether they were the ER doctors or
was prayer mentioned?
Physicians who have examined these patients afterwards, have they actually identified any chemical property whatsoever, either in their eyes, on their skin? So
yeah, did they test for material, any kind of some sort of material that perhaps they could call, I don't know, some sort of fee-based some.
So is there an actual identifiable irritant?
Well, it was a day later, so most of them were planning on showering.
I don't believe so. There was just a summary that they were treating it for a chemical abrasion, and then.
Yes. So again, if you're standing behind Donald Trump at one of his rallies and your eyes start to sting, don't rub them.
There wasn't also that it was an ocular chemical burn, but
an ocular chemical burn.
I am not a doctor, so.
But you could play one on TV.
Oh, it was a lot of medical jargon.
Yeah, they were talking about sort of gaseous substances.
That is probably above my pay grade. That was on the medical reports. So someone like yourself could probably look at it with a set of fresh eyes and maybe see something that I was not.
Well, don't look at it with your fresh eyes, because something bad could happen. Yeah.
Able to determine.
Would you say that it was a chemical-like burn, or?
Yeah, it was some sort of they believe, obviously it wasn't a chemical solid or a chemical liquid, but perhaps a chemical, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a chemical, it's not a solid, it's not a liquid. Damn, I'll remember it later.
Were they emphatic that it was in fact a chemical source to this problem?
The exact wording, and I do have a JD, so I am very precise in the language, says they were diffusing the eyes for chemical abrasion, and that they spotted the bilateral ocular chemical burn.
Well, see,
they did not.
Yeah, so some sort of maybe some sort of damp air with a caustic base struck them in the eyes, and they were directly behind Donald Trump when this happened, and there was no way to tell what was the source.
Not use the term like a burn.
Yeah.
No, like a burn. No.
So with that information there, that would take me away from the speculation of any type of directed energy weapon. And these things are in the news. The CIA continues to deny their very...
So yeah, it was not Havana Syndrome. It may have been Mar-a-Lago Syndrome, which is anybody downwind from Trump often will find themselves with ocular chemical burns.
existence, but there's actually been congressional hearings. In fact, there was a congressional hearings just this year on May 8th, 2024, in which experts, military experts, legal experts were bringing the issue of Havana Syndrome before Congress, because we have hundreds of citizens, not just our diplomatic corps, not just our special forces, not just our intelligence services around the world who are being affected by this mysterious illness, but also this is now cropping up and being used domestically. But that doesn't sound like what we're talking about in Tucson.
No, something different.
Yeah, and we should say, I mean, this is as a friend said today, isn't Havana Syndrome just long COVID for people in the State Department who don't want to work, which is a terrible thing.
That's a terrible thing to say. You said it, but I'm just going to point at you and pretend you didn't say it, because it's a real injury, and it's. But anyways,
to say. But I get it. That's what I first thought too. But there's something very serious going on there. So I think that, is one of the things that drew people's attention to this. I guess to rule that out, you would have to say, you'd have to know that these were not just chemical-like effects, but that there was actually, you have to get to the cause of what the chemical was.
Yeah,
is it true that Havana Syndrome is like in these cases they would have chemical-like effects?
They would absolutely have exactly very similar effects to what Christy is describing right here. But it also includes confusion, severe headaches, things of that nature.
Which is, by the way, something people experience at Trump rallies anyways. So it's understandable that they wouldn't notice.
That you can get from chemical properties exposure.
Okay, also, these guys are talking out of their ass. I'm done fucking around. Toxic Schlock Syndrome. That's a great name for it. That's what these people got at the Peter Shancel in the chat for the win. Nicely done. Toxic Schlock Syndrome. That's what happens when you stand behind Trump for too long at a rally when he's just getting rolling. Damn, I done messed up my pants. That said, I think I got through almost everything. I don't need this shit. There was like a Peter Navarro on War Room, but it was just fucking so dry. I don't care. Do you like to see a cat, perhaps? Can I interest you guys in seeing one of my kitties? I could go get a cat, if you would. I would like to say that today I pulled out all the stops on all the devices, and I still had to use my soundboard over here to get all of the fart sounds, and I still feel like I need more. I do feel like I need more. Ooh, that was not nice. That's better. Little drier, not to be ashamed of. Here's the perfect one. There you go. All done. Oh, here we go. Yes, I will go get a cat. Talk amongst yourselves. Hold on. I have to take my headphones out because they go out of range and then they start yelling at me. Cheer, boys. How's your boy? How's your big boy? How's your big chippers? How's your boy? Hi, boy. How's your chippers? Look at this big cat. Look at this guy. Oh, he's a good kitty. He's a good kitty. You guys want to see the, what is now the Haitian joke, but has been an ongoing thing that I do when I pick up Chip almost all the time? There's a scratch. There's a fan. Yeah. Here's how it goes. Hold on. Pick him up and I go like this. We pick him up like this, and then I roll him over, and I give him a kisses on the belly. And the Chip will get your belly kisses. There, gets it. Get your belly kisses. Because he's a big boy. He's a big kitty. These are unflattering angles. You're not nearly as fat as you look. He's just a big, meaty cat. The black parts of him are slimming. There he goes. Hey, dear boy. Hey, dear boy. That's Chip was a good boy. That's a boy. How's Chip doing? So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Chip. Yeah, he's a big cat. He's basically a panda disguised as a sea lion. It's a boy. It's a boy. Do you want a snack? Yeah? You want a snack? Yeah? He wants a snack. Yes, you do. You want a snack. Okay, here you go. All right. Oh my God. Covered in hair. This is my OnlyFans. That's what it's going to be. Just me doing this. Hello, ladies. How's it going? Bounce, chicka, wow, wow, waka, waka, wow, wow, wow. Yes, and by the way, where you going? Get out of there. What are you doing? Chip is the deep state. He totally is. Part house cat, part moose. He looks like creationist cat. Oh, all right. There you go. How much does he weigh? More than he should and less than he could. I mean, he's a big kitty, but he's not. He's ambulatory. Don't worry. He's very active. So, yeah. But he's a buddy. What did my buddy do? What did my buddy do? What did buddy to do? What's your buddy? What you doing? What you doing, buddy? He puts his hand on my face when I try to get close to him. I said, hush, shut up now. Voices carry. All right, there we go. Oh, boy. All right, I will let you guys go. Thank you so much. Take care of yourselves and take care of somebody else. And thank you for being a part of the greatest live stream that exists on the internet. And I will see you soon. I've got to go cook dinner for the family. All right. Now, I think I have an off button here. Do I have it? Probably not. I've got to, let's see, how does this, I think if I click this.
Soup for my family.